Good morning, El Paso, and welcome back to your AMP podcast, to your AMP El Paso podcast. And thanks for joining me this week. There's a lot of stuff going on this weekend, actually, with the Saturday actually being really saturated of events. How was your week? How is this cold week? This is for me, I kind of like it. It is really freezing cold because you really can't go out and do anything. But it's still pretty nice. I mean, during the day, it gets kind of nice. Yesterday, I was hanging out outside, and I was, just doing some stuff outside. And once you remain in the sun, it's fine. It's a beautiful day, maybe a little breezy, a little chilly with a jacket. But once you went in the shade for, just a couple seconds, it was freezing. And that's crazy. Plus, I don't remember it being this cold. Especially even last year. Last year it wasn't this cold. But especially around this time. February, was it? I think it was a little cold, but not just freezing. It's still, I walked out to the cars this morning, and it's all, they got that frost in the windshield and everything, on the roof and everything. And that's something, they're also in the shade, so I don't know, just the way the sun hits the house, it covers the sun for, up until early morning. But it's still, come on, it's still freezing cold out. So I don't know. I don't know how everybody else is handling it. But I guess enjoy the different weather that we have. Plus, the summer is going to be just death. It's going to be maybe the hottest summer ever. But, you never know. It might be a comfortable summer. But, how are you handling it? How's everybody's, hopefully, people are still out and about, driving like maniacs and everything. So, everything seems to be pretty normal. Maybe we'll get some more snow. You never know. And, if you're one of those people that likes to go skiing or snowboarding up here in Ruidoso or Cloudcroft or any of the close places that we have by, I do know that they're still open. I haven't checked recently if they have snow or if they're forecasting any snow maybe in the near future. I do know Ski Apache is open. I know they make their own snow. Some of those places. I think Cloudcroft, I think this year, maybe last year, they got some new snow making machines, which for somebody from El Paso, that always kind of seems like a foreign thing, or for me it did. It's just how making snow, but I guess it works. And I'm assuming that with these really cold temperatures, I was looking at the news, like I don't know which one of the local channels that I was looking at yesterday, and they were talking about how Ruidoso and Cloudcroft were in the negatives, like during the morning also. But still, if it's in the negatives in the morning and they're up in the mountains, I'm guessing it's not going to get very high up there during the day. Which for somebody like me that wants to go, I want to go snowboarding out there. Christmas and all the holidays, it's pretty busy, I guess. So you don't really have a lot of time off, especially because your time off, you want to spend at home with your family and all that. But I heard that those places are open up until about March. So, if you want to still get into it, I'll try to cover it a little bit. Maybe next week I'll talk about it. This week I didn't check it, and I am assuming this would have been a good week since, with the cold, right? But might as well do something different, especially for here in El Paso. When is the last time I really can't say when is the last time we saw snow, because we just got snow, but we can't ski here, right? I know Trans Mountain got shut down because it's like the steepest grade here in El Paso, and it looks gorgeous too. If you ask me, it looks gorgeous. I understand it's dangerous. It's dangerous when it's dry. We all know our El Paso peeps, right? But yeah, it's we don't, people being from here, I mean, I'm assuming that would be a good place to go skiing. But, well, maybe not. Maybe it's got a bunch of, like, sharp rocks and everything. I've never hiked it, which, it's one of the reasons why I paddle these hikes to you guys, because I think it's one of those cool things. I work Sundays, so unfortunately I can't go Sunday mornings. But being those hikes, eventually if I get a Sunday off, I would like to go, especially in one of the warm days when it's cool in the morning and maybe not too hot during the day. Maybe around September, probably not October. But I don't know which one is, April maybe. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to some of the. I'm already looking forward to the warmer days, because I'm home. I get to do things here, and I like being outside and doing stuff, or even doing stuff inside the house. But once you do the housework and all that, and then sometimes there's repairs that I don't know how to make, or I don't know how to do, so I go outside, and I work on my cars. But yeah, anyway, so. We have quite a bit of stuff going on this weekend. It's people are starting to get out and about. There's a lot of events on Saturday, and there's a lot of events to encourage people to go out. And I heard it was going to be not as cold this morning, from what I was listening yesterday to the forecast, but. I don't know. I mean, maybe this weekend. I'm looking forward to riding my bike this weekend. So we'll see if I can. But yeah. So let's go ahead and get started here. So today is Thursday, February 27th. We're already the last week of the month. Did this one kind of fly by? Everybody think this one flew by nice and quick there? To me, it kind of did. Kinda did, not gonna lie. I mean, February's always been short, but sometimes it drags out. I think everybody maybe not all guys, but as a guy, I feel like we sometimes kind of dread the whole Valentine's Day. Sorry, ladies. And after that, it's just like, oh well, there's one more week. It feels like one more week and a half, because especially how it landed kind of this weekend. Monday is already the 2nd of March. March, man. It's already the 2nd of March. All right, so today's podcast is for events going on Thursday afternoon, Thursday, February the 27th, Friday 28th, Saturday the 29th, and Sunday, March 1st, 2020. And this is Saturday the 29th, so this is a leap year, which I didn't know until yesterday. Because it's confusing, right? Every 4 years, there's 28, 29, 30? I don't know. February's weird, right? So, this year is Saturday 29th, leap year, so there's actually an event specifically for that day. Which, there's a lot of events that day, but there's one that's theme like that, which you probably already know which one it is. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started here with Thursday, since it is Thursday afternoon. This is going to come out, or Thursday morning. I have one of the events saved. There's actually not a lot to do this Thursday. I think everybody got scared on Monday and didn't make any plans. That's my dog scratching at the door. I don't know if you could hear it. Yeah. Anyway, there's the El Paso Museum of History, and they've had events going on this past month every week, and I encourage people to go out and do this, especially because recently I've been learning a lot about here, especially with the podcast. It's one of the cool things about it. I've been learning more things about, local restaurants that I was too young to know that they were, classic, like, staple here in the borderland in the beautiful city of El Paso. And I've been hanging out a little bit more with some of my friends, and just, being here. It honestly makes me just happy being here in El Paso. I've always loved this city, and especially going near the downtown or classic spots here of El Paso, of, the I guess my past generation that used to go out and used to hang out with with their families, used to drive around, and all that stuff. It just reminds me of, I don't know, simpler times maybe. Is that a little cliche, overdone, overrated? I don't know. I mean, it just makes me happy just walking around. And that's one of the reasons why I was kind of bummed out. I'm pretty sure everybody heard. I think I didn't know if I shared it on the podcast Facebook page, but it was at the Bronco swap meet or flea market closed down. Hopefully that's only a temporary thing. I didn't read the whole thing because I figured if it's already kind of a done deal, there's no point in me trying to help. I don't know exactly what I heard. They had some code things, and that's about all I read. And I figured, hopefully they'll reopen. It seems likely that they might. It's been, and like I said, that's one of the things that over in the lower valley, it was one of those things that was kind of a staple. You drive by that big white Bronco head, and you just, I don't know, you felt like, oh, you're going to go get some snacks. You're probably going to go find some neat stuff to buy. So once I heard it was closed, I thought it was very unlikely that they were saying that, oh, well, it is going to close, and then it became, a reality like right away. I think maybe like a week after they were talking about it, it really closed down. And I do know some people that go there, pretty often and stuff. I actually went to Ascarate last week to the flea market there, and I went nice and early. I had to make a couple of keys for an old car, and I know the old gentleman there. He always has like some keys that you wouldn't be able to find another, like a store. So he's kind of my go-to guy if I do need an old key like an 80s or 70s where it is just, it's a piece of metal, no chip, no nothing, and some of those keys that are hard to find at like your big stores like at your Walmart or Home Depot or wherever you make your keys inside a store. Sometimes they don't have those old keys because nobody has those cars. So for me, it's one of those things where if I'm going to Ascarate, I enjoy walking around, and I know that guy's going to be there. And he's a very sweet old man. Much like other people on there, everybody's going to want to try to sell you, and they're going to try to get you to pay more for some things. But you could, it being a flea market, as much as it's, they have their prices, you could barter a little bit. And that's, you could maybe get things maybe a little bit cheaper than they are. And that's one of the things that I like about flea markets, that it's things that you wouldn't necessarily find in a store, and it's things that have a little bit more unique feel to it. And sometimes, and a lot of the times, a lot of the things that I buy there are very good. And actually, this past weekend, like I said, I bought a small piano. It's a small Wurlitzer, which I was really excited about. But you're not. Especially if you go to a store or something like that, you're going to pay thousands for like a piano and things like that. And I understand, people sometimes want to get rid of pianos, and you could find them in other places. But just the fact that I was already there, and I was walking around and I saw it, and it was in great shape too. It's one of the things that I enjoyed. No cracks, not even scuffs really. And it came with a piano bench. And yeah, it was one of those cool things. It does need a tune, which that's not a big deal. You tune any instrument, just like a guitar or any other stringed instrument. Even drums and stuff like that. It does need a tune, so I'm going to try to find a guy to do that. Which here learning about the podcast and some of the events going on, some of those things have become easier for me to find people and events or places or things that kind of focus on things that you want to, a little off the beaten path, I guess, as you would say it. So anyway, that's about it for my weekend. How what I did, my excitement. I did have to talk about, it's a little piano. I don't know. I'm learning how to play the piano, and I am actually, a weekend. I'm kind of getting refreshed from what I learned in school and kind of let go of. So I'm kind of starting to pick up the little books and everything. Obviously, my hands are the ones that need the most work. But nice and easy. I'll nice and steady. I'll be able to get the pace there. There's always been a couple songs that I want to learn, kind of like how you do in guitar, and then you start learning guitar because of a song, and then you get into it, and then you learn how to play a little bit of guitar, and that's it. So that's hopefully the piano for me seems just insanely complicated. So if I am able to learn fairly decent, at least how to read music and be able to play with both hands, which that seems insane right now, I'll be pretty excited. So we'll see how Angel does here in his progress, and you could hold me accountable for that. Anyway, so today's Thursday, February 27th. And there's actually just one event that I actually found for today that that is not really I guess discussed so much. The first one that I found is Faces and Places of the Chihuahuan Desert Lecture Series, which is hosted by the El Paso Museum of History. And this week, it's the lecture is about Abraham Lincoln and Benito Juarez, which got really interesting to me, especially because I didn't know that they were around the same time. Is that why they are talking about both of them and joined together by the word "and"? That's pretty cool. Abraham Lincoln is easily my actually, it's one of my favorite. I guess I don't know if I would say favorite, but I find him really interesting, and especially here in the borderland. It just seems to be one of those places that the two countries, the U.S. and Mexico, do a lot of negotiating and things like that. And, some of the historical figures on the Mexican side and some of the historical figures on the American side actually have a lot of, I don't know, I would say maybe conversation. There's some sort of relationship there because of, naturally, because of the borderland. And the things, I know Chamizal was, or El Chamizal, if you guys are going to crucify me for that. I think they had something to do with John F. Kennedy and the Mexican president at the same time that John F. Kennedy was there. But for me, like I said, with this Faces and Places lecture, whenever I saw the title, Abraham Lincoln and Benito Juarez, I was like, you know what, I'm going to find more information on that. I'll be able to see if I can attend this because it is actually very, very interesting. And there's going to be, there's going to be a lecture by a history activist and researcher, and it's going to be really cool, especially because they cover some of the things that talked about in their relationship. So don't forget, Thursday afternoon, very first events on this podcast. And learn a little bit more of our borderland here. It's the El Paso Museum of History hosting Faces and Places lecture for Abraham Lincoln and Benito Juarez, starting at 6 p.m. All right, moving on over here. Funk Myers over on Lee Trevino is going to be having their nerd night on gaming, and they're basically be discussing how, if you're probably the older generation, the previous one to us, they don't understand. I feel like millennials, we were kind of just smack down in the middle of the kind of technological change there, and we were really involved in gaming, and that's what they're going to be discussing here, how we kind of became really glued onto our devices, including video games. Because, my generation saw the real growth and the change of how we went from the, what would you say, the Sega, the Super Nintendo, the SNES, the NES, maybe not the Magnavox or the Atari or what was it, the Odyssey, was it? Anyway, so we went kind of from, okay graphics, which I'm guessing, one of my favorite games growing up was the Super Mario World. Both the first one and what was it, the third one, where where you got Yoshi and stuff. So going from that to some of the newest games, the Call of Duties, all the racing games, the like the Final Fantasy, all the RPGs, all the like World of Warcraft. Well, it's a massive jump, especially in how you get immersed in all these games. So this is kind of what it's talking about. They're going to be explaining how the social aspects and that, and what makes them so appealing to people, which is not very surprising because it's great. It's the same thing as movies. I'm not saying they actually had very good special effects for the time being. One of my favorite movies is the original Godzilla with that Jean Reno, that what is it, like Russian dude, the very rugged dude, Hank Azaria when he's running around with that little camera. That is one of my favorite movies because at the time it seemed something that you could only see done in Hollywood. That it just, I don't know if maybe if I watch it again, which I'm planning on, if I would say, oh man, these effects suck or something. But at the time, one of the craziest scenes to me was when Godzilla's walking toward the guy with the camera. I think it is Hank Azaria. I think so. And you see the Godzilla's giant paw or leg, whatever the reptiles have, paws, legs. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like reptiles have paws, especially like snakes. Anyway, when he's got the huge foot and it just lands like in between the toes, and I think he pees himself, which and one of those things I was like, oh my god, it was for some reason I think that's one of these scenes that just marked me from when I was a kid. And it was great. Anyway, so Fuck Myers Rec Room, Thursday at 7 p.m. It's only going to be going on for a couple hours till about 9. That is on Lee Trevino, and you can bring your kids, grandkids, all that stuff, and how it'll be explaining how just all that. And that is at 7. Tickets are $10. Also at 7:30, the Fox Fine Arts here in UTEP is going to be having a jazz ensemble concert. Tickets are $3. Later, or at the same time, rather, the comic strip, their weekly invited comic, is Sean Grant for this week, and he's going to be opened by Vanessa, or his opener is going to be Vanessa Johnston. And I do believe this is going to be a 7:30 and a 9:30 show. But, you might want to check with the Comic Strip Facebook page. I know they have all their stuff there. I'm trying to go about the podcast a little bit different this week. Speaking Rock, also on Thursday, starting at 8, is going to have the Lucky Girl Band, like a little pop rock group, to go out and hang out. Go inside. They're on their stage and get out of the cold. Enjoy some drinks and enjoy some music. All right, and that does it for our Thursday, which is tonight. Don't forget, go out, have a good time, maybe bundle up, because we are still in danger of getting sick. I feel like this year the flu wasn't that crazy, so don't get me wrong. And still, you should still be taking care of yourself, but I feel like everybody's kind of been doing a little bit better job. Maybe people are getting sick now because we expect it to be warm now, but it's still really, literally freezing cold at night. Anyway, moving on to Friday morning. Friday, February 28th, 2020, here in El Paso, beautiful city of El Paso. All right. I am going to throw in some events for Juarez, since I actually found... I did always want to involve it, and it just seems this week there's a lot of stuff going on here in Juarez. And starting at noon, the one that I found is they're going to be having their... is it in Juarez? Yeah. They're going to be having their food truck event, which I thought I had it saved here. But yeah, there's going to be their food truck festival there. That's what it is. here in Juarez at the Plaza de Mexicanidad, which is where that big X is. If you are somebody that goes to Juarez every once in a while, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But they're going to be having the the food truck festival here in Juarez. And I can't find the event since I found this one on Facebook. But if you type it, I already have my setup here. So if I don't want to move it around. But yeah, there's going to be having a food truck festival in Juarez on Friday. Friday starting at noon, so nice and early. If you're somebody that frequents Juarez, you'd probably enjoy that. And then later on, El Paso's Finest is going to be having at 6 Viva la Frida art show. And that's going to be starting at 6 over on, I think they're by Wrestler, if I am not mistaken. But that's the El Paso Finest store shop there. They do have a lot of like local gear and stuff like that. And they're going to be having an art show for, the ridiculously famous now. She's got like a cult following now, right? Would that be fair to say? She's very iconic. Anyway. Viva la Frida art show Friday, tomorrow, the 28th, starting at 6. Moving on, Flor de Barro Art Gallery, which I love these, what is it, ladies? Since, that's always who I hear talking about the like some of the events. Like I said, I like listening to them on NPR. So that's one of the things where I hear them a lot, and I just like that they like to I don't know, it's very, very artistic. It's a very artistic approach to all the things they do, especially with a name like Flor de Barro. That's something you can expect. But they're going to be having a succulent sip and paint, I believe, and it's for succulents. You could go hang out and they'll have a little workshop on how to plant, how to care for them, and all that stuff. Those are perfect plants to have around your desk, inside your house, maybe by your kitchen. Something that, from what I know, which I don't know much, maybe requires very minimal maintenance and stuff. And they look pretty nice. My girlfriend likes having those little succulents. She actually bought one last week whenever we were driving. I bought a piano. She got a plant. I don't know how that's fair. Also, Friday later on that afternoon at the is it Auditorio Benito Juarez? In just here in downtown. Well, not downtown Juarez. They're going to be having a Led Zeppelin Sinfónico, which I don't know if that's if it's a symphony, it's going to be all of these orchestra instruments and stuff like that. But yeah, they're going to be having the Led Zeppelin Sinfónico at the Benito Juarez over across the border in Juarez. Later on that night, Tequila's Discotheque over here in El Paso is going to be having at 8. They're going to be having some bands come in. There's a couple. I don't know if they're very big bands, but I know it was Los Dos. That's one of them, and the other one was I think if I wrote it correctly, it's Canalet. And they're the stuff that's like your popular music right now that you would expect at Tequila's. I don't know if they'll be having wrestling this weekend, but check up on that. My girl's dad likes to go to those as well as I do. I enjoy going there. Also, Friday at 7 p.m. at Speaking Rock, Lucky Girl Band will be there. And let me see, Friday, some more comedy at the comic strip with Mr. Sean Grant and Miss Vanessa Johnston opening for him. And over at Sullivan Park Racetrack and Casino is going to be an old school band that I actually remember hearing, and it's called Apache. And it says here, I should point out that it says Nueva Imagen. So hopefully it would be the same guys. If you know these guys, you know that they perform like a bunch of cumbias, some of the most popular stuff from when I was a little kid that my aunts and uncles and parents and all that used to listen to. And they're going to be having a show over at Sullen Park starting at 8:30 on Friday tomorrow. So go check them out. This is probably something you'd appreciate if you just want to go out and maybe dance, have a good time. And also over on Speaking Rock is going to have something. Is it fairly similar? It's Mi Barrio Colombiano, which I'm Barrio Colombiano, and Ingrata Pop starting at 8:30, going on till around midnight. And both of these events are always free. You know how Speaking Rock and Sullen Park Restaurant Casino always host free like bands and stuff like that. Every once in a while, I've remembered they charge, but every once in a while, very, very rarely. They usually have, and they're very good concerts whenever you go there. Also, like I said, comic strip usually events are 7:30 and 9:30, which is the same with Mr. Sean Grant there. So you could still get a chance to catch him. I would assume, I haven't gotten to my Saturday yet, but I would assume he's going to be there both Saturday and Sunday as well. And that actually does it for the Friday. So moving on to Saturday, which is one of the kind of heavy events here. Heavy event saturated thing here. You could hear that's actually good, right? Since you could hear me clicking and everything. So we're going to be starting nice and early at 9:30. The Bowie Garden is going to be having a workshop. That way you could come and volunteer and help out and find out at their little community garden there on Bowie High School, starting at 9:30 Saturday morning. Saturday is your very last day of February. Your leap year. Is it leap day? Is it just called leap year? It's a Saturday, right? Saturday 29th. That's going to be at El Jardín de la Bowie. So moving on, Waco Tanks is going to be having, there it is, look. Oh, the Bowie Garden one is called Dig Where You Live. If you want to find that that event, February 29th, this Saturday in the morning. Dig Where You Live. That is the event on Facebook if you want to find it. So, go out and check all that stuff out. And maybe help out a little bit. It's nice to. Like I said, I'm taking care of the house, so I'm starting to find some of those plants and things pretty nice to do. Let me see. Is that the one that I had over here? The next event that I have is a Waco Tanks photo workshop, if I can find it here. All right, there it is. It's actually the event is called Nature Photography at the Waco Tanks Park and Historic Site. You do have to RSVP for this event. Tickets are $9 per person, 13 years of age and older, $2 for children. So go out and go take some pictures there at the Waco Tanks, and learn. I suck at taking pictures, so I would certainly appreciate somebody giving me at least a little bit of a a lesson, or just maybe little tips. That way my pictures come out a little bit better. I take your regular pictures from like standard height at rate. I don't care about lighting as long as there's a lot of light. That's which isn't always a good time. Good photographers know how to work with shadows and reflections and all that stuff. So I'm no good at that. So if you go to this workshop, maybe you get some tips out there. Up next at 10 a.m. These are all events starting at 10 in the morning. All right. I have a couple more here. The next one is the Manhattan Heights 915 pop-up market. And this is going to be over at La Paz Faith Center over on Piedras. And this is going to be taking place at 10 in the morning on Saturday. Nice and early. So my other event here, it's, if you follow the podcast, you know that I really like these guys. These are, This is the Love Sucks Art and Oddities Vintage Market. This is going to be hosted at the Undisputed Craft House. And I do think this one is hosted by, I'm not going to, it is hosted. See, I should have just trusted my gut. Because I enjoy going to all these guys' events. This is the El Paso Punk Rock Flea Market. And this is the Love Sucks Oddities and Vintage Market. Over at 10 in the morning at Undisputed Craft House. That is on Saul Kleinfeld Road. So if you just find it on Facebook as the Love Sucks Market, it should be able to direct you there. So those are the events for 10 in the morning, followed by 11 in the morning. We're going to have the Leap Year Market, which is over. I do believe that this is the same as the Upper Valley Farmer Market because it is in the same place at the same time. So, actually, no, it is not. I'm giving wrong information here. I'm sorry. I apologize. So let's go ahead and move on to the Leap Year Market since it's the one that I had here. This is going to be taking place at the Northwest Market at the Canyons at Cimarron. And once a month, they come in and bring, the makers, curators, artisans, and farmers from around this area, much as your local markets do here. And, Saturday, like I said, this Saturday, I heard that we were supposed to be pretty warm. But, you should still take a jacket, especially if you have little ones. You should take a jacket and make sure you cover yourself up. And actually I did get confused because the Leap Year Market is also advertised here as the Northwest Market. So this year there's going to be an emphasis on Leap Year, which, it is kind of a special occasion because it is every 4 years. So you might make some sort of difference but that is going to be at the Canyons at Cimarron, over there at is it by one of the EPCC campuses? There's one there, right? And then we're going to be having followed by that, we're going to be having a car show hosted by City Slickers. And like I said, I'm having a hard time here with my new process. I promise you I'll work better next week. And it's actually called the Devastating Concepts Show and Shine over at City Slickers. It's going to be hosted by the C Car Club, which I'm not entirely sure what that means, but it is. And you know what? Give them credit where credit is due. Car shows, with the beautiful weather coming up, this is going to be something that's not very rare. So you're going to be able to find car shows nice and early almost everywhere these upcoming weekends, hopefully starting in March. Hopefully we'll have a good one. A very comfortable March, right? And it's going to be starting this Saturday at 1 p.m. At the City Slickers. Is it a shop? At 1610 North Zaragoza. Starting at 1, going on till about 4. This is one of the ones that I had here. This is kind of a big deal. It's starting at noon over at the Game Vault in El Paso over on Montana, 9828 Montana to be exact. The Game Vault of El Paso is going to be hosting a cosplay workshop. So, I know this is one of the big deals, especially with the El Paso Comic Con coming up, EPCON coming up on April. I believe it's April 16th and 17th, if I'm not mistaken. This is going to be a perfect thing. So, I do know a couple guys that actually are into cosplay, and they're very good at it, and they actually make their own things, which, it takes a lot of creativity, and you just have to try different things. Because some of the cosplay things that I've seen are pretty incredible. I mean, they make some of these things that you would see in like TV shows or anime, cartoons, especially video games. And they make some of these weapons and some of these costumes. And some of these guys are actually really good. So, if you get a little bit more knowledge on how to do these things, there's Game Vault is going to be hosting a cosplay workshop on Saturday, starting at noon, going on until about 5. So, you have plenty of time to get some good tips and everything there. So don't forget to check that stuff out there. And so, have a good time, especially, if you're going to be getting ready here for EPCON coming up in April, which, we'll talk about that at a later time. We also have a bunch of other events that I know I'm probably missing. I'm trying to focus on some of the events that have to do specifically with just art stuff and things like that. But, like I said, some of these things that you hear at stores and events like that, you hear a lot of it. So I'm trying to talk about some of the things that you probably wouldn't hear so much about, but still have to do with some things about art and things like that. And I mean, I just look at these things through and see, who is the one that maybe doesn't get talked about a lot, and encourages you to maybe learn something or has to do something with art, and talks about here our beautiful area of the El Paso borderland area. So the next thing that I have here is going to be Alamo Draft House. They're going to be hosting a Loteria night. And this one is actually going to be hosted by Mr. Roman Martinez. And if that name does sound familiar, this gentleman is a local artist, which I've actually met a couple of times. And he actually sells his version of the Star Wars, which is called Star Wars. I don't know if you could notice a little bit of a difference there, but he actually hosts his own different, his own kind of loteria, which of course, I mean, that's a staple here, in our beautiful city. He actually made his own with some of the characters from the Star Wars movies. And he's got some of the characters at the loteria. I'm sure you've seen it, and you need to buy this. This is amazing. We actually have, I think we have a couple of them that we bought from him. Since I know some of my family members are big fans, so we try to pull that out whenever they come by. But he actually used the characters, and then he's got the names in Spanish, just kind of mocking some of these guys as to what their role is on the movies and stuff. Some, kind of jabs at them. So yeah, that's going to be one of the events later on your Saturday afternoon over at the Alamo Draft House. And then also on Friday, Spring Rock is going to have Rage Against the Machine tribute. With their upcoming concert, this is probably going to be a good one because everybody that already has tickets to their actual concert is going to be probably at this concert as well. So Rage Against the Machine tribute over at Spring Rock at 8:30 on Saturday. And I do believe that sends us over into our Sunday morning, starting off with our downtown artists and farmers market. Well, actually, you know what? I have Ardovino's Desert Crossing, and I do believe that one's over by Solon Park Casino. Ardovino's is starting at 9 in the morning on Sunday, going on till about 1 in the afternoon. And over at downtown, starting at 10, going on till about 2. This is a weekly downtown artist and farmers market. This is also a really good time. Very good vibe. And if this is going to be a nice and warm weekend, this is going to be pretty nice. Oh, you know what? Alamo Draft House is also hosting a Madagascar cereal party. And I do believe that was the last one that I have. Moving on to our Sunday. Let me see. A tribute. Some comedy. Oh, we also have some more comedy over on Saturday at the comic strip. All right. So we have Sunday morning. We have the Upper Valley and Farmers Market over on Mesa, right in front of the Hobby Lobby shopping center there. I know there's a lot of stores, but I mean the biggest one I think there is Hobby Lobby. That is the Upper Valley Farmers Market, and this week they're also going to be having the Eat the Street El Paso festival kind of event there, where there's going to be a bunch of food trucks and everything. So it's going to be a good time to go out there and eat. Okay, followed by that same day, we're going to have a Sunday Cruise car show over at Lost and Found. Is this one? Oh, yeah. That's going to be over at 2519 North Stanton. And it's going to be Sunday starting at 3 p.m. It's a Sunday Cruise. It's the first Sunday of every month, since it is the March first Sunday. Also, that same morning on Sunday, nice and early, at the Weiler Aerial Tramway State Park, we have the women's hike going on at Weiler Aerial Tramway. Over at the substation, the Upper Valley Farmers Market, that is starting at 9. Let me see. We also have some UTEP tennis starting at 10 in the morning. And then over at the Don Haskins. Oh, actually, no. The El Paso Tennis Club. And then later on that day, we have the men's basketball over at the Don Haskins. That's the one that it was. And I do believe that brings me to a close here on your weekend. Right? Anyway, so I hope everybody has a good weekend, actually. Hopefully it'll warm up. I'm not making any promises, especially because I don't have any control whatsoever about that. How could I miss these guys? I follow these guys constantly on my... Oh, you know what? I know what. Yeah, the Kaleidoscope was hosting an event this week, but they wanted some more time to prep, so they're actually moving their... it was like a small food truck fest as well. Man, I can't find it. They probably removed it, so since I don't have it, I'm not going to be able to talk to you about it. But you know what? We'll just talk about it next week, because I don't want to confuse you. I have made this confusing enough for this week. So I'll just talk about it next time, right? So, like I said, don't forget to go out, enjoy your time. Still bundle up because it's still cold. And go out and enjoy some time with your family. And have a good time. And be safe, all right? And cover up. Maybe some gloves, maybe a scarf. But definitely a jacket. All right? Take care, guys. I'm going to still be trying to encourage people to use maybe the reusable bags. Okay? I know everybody still gives me hell about it. How, plastic, it's a good... plastic, it's less contaminating or polluting than cotton, because the cotton... it takes more to make and everything. But, if you don't use plastic, you're not throwing that one trash bag in the garbage, then it ends up in the ocean and, all that. So, try to do maybe your little part. And I'll try to encourage still using your water bottles. That's going to be pretty much it. Eventually, I'm hoping to get maybe some merchandise just with the AMP logo to try to encourage that, especially, at these farmers markets. You could those come in very handy. So, yeah, have a good weekend, and I'll see you guys next week.